So today we're going to be making a delicious low-carb spaghetti option, and you're not going to want to miss this one. So the sauce that I'm making is going to be made semi-homemade. We're actually going to use some canned tomatoes and tomato sauce and things like that. But all the herbs and onions and everything are things that I've grown out of my garden. So let me show you how we're going to start. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm heating up a pan with about a tablespoon of olive oil and a tablespoon of butter. And I've got a medium onion that I've chopped up, and I'm gonna go ahead and just add this to the pan. As soon as it's translucent, then I'm gonna go ahead and add some garlic to it. And this time I'm actually gonna use some minced garlic instead of powdered garlic. Alrighty, I took a couple minutes and I just went out and pulled some herbs out from the garden. I got some fresh parsley, some Italian parsley. I got some fresh basil, and I also got some fresh oregano. So I just gave them a wash, and then I'm going to, just cut them up, show you how I take care of my herbs. Now we're not going to be adding the herbs until the very last thing. These are just a couple of sweet yellow tomatoes that I have. And as you can see, I put the garlic in there. The onions are kind of translucent. The garlic's cooked about 60 seconds. And I'm going to go ahead and add my sauces now. So we're going to be adding a combination of some tomato sauce, some diced vine-ripened tomatoes, and some tomato paste. So let me get these in the pan and we'll get to the next step. So I'm gonna put in about a tablespoon or two of sugar just to cut the acidity. As you can see, I've put all of my Italian parsley, my basil, my fresh oregano in here. And I'm also gonna add a little bit of salt and pepper. I've got the garlic and the onions, which have already kind of pre-cooked. And then I'm just gonna cook this sauce down for about 20 or 30 minutes. So I'm gonna put a little salt in there, a little bit of freshly ground pepper, now I've got it on low. You can see it is kind of simmering a little bit. If you want to put a little bit of red peppers in here, you can. I don't care for that in my spaghetti sauce, but feel free to do that if that's something that you'd like in yours. So we're gonna leave it on low and we're just gonna let it simmer, and then we're gonna come back and just give it a stir like every 5 to 10 minutes. So I did tell you that we were gonna make this spaghetti as sort of a surprise ingredient. And let me show you what it is. I use a low-calorie, delicious spaghetti squash. Now, I actually grew this spaghetti squash in my garden. And what I do is I cut them in half, and I put a little bit, maybe a teaspoon of olive oil between the two. I just kind of drizzle it over it after I take all the seeds and the insides out. And all I do is put a little bit of garlic powder and a little bit of pepper, and that's all I do. I bake it for 1 hour, and let me show you what happens. Now I actually have to let this cool for a little while just because it's very difficult to handle when it's really hot. But this is the most flavorful way. I think this is actually better than noodles myself. So all I do is kind of scoop it out from this container here, this little shell, I guess, of what it grows in. Just kind of pull it apart. You're gonna get a lot more than you think you're going to. This is about a medium spaghetti squash. I'm gonna get all of it out that I possibly can. And then what I do is I just move that into a bowl with a little bit of a strainer, just in case. Sometimes it creates like a little bit of moisture from cooking it. So I'm gonna put this in here, and just 1/2, look how much of this spaghetti squash we're gonna get. It's just amazing. there's so much that comes out of one little squash. And this is what my spaghetti squash looks like. I kind of tear it apart with fork and just with my fingers. It's amazing. This stuff is just unbelievable. And this one actually doesn't have too much moisture in it. It was a really good squash. It smells good. My whole house just smells amazing. So I'm just kind of pulling this apart. I'm probably only gonna have one of these for dinner, and in all honesty, I mean, this stuff is so filling, you really can't even eat like a whole one yourself. But this is the consistency of the spaghetti squash. And if you've never had this, I'm not exaggerating. This stuff is so delicious, and it's extremely low calorie. It's good for you, and it's really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the other one apart too, and then we'll get going on our spaghetti sauce. Now I'm just gonna run an immersion blender through this just because that's how I always do it. But if you, like I said, if you wanna eat it the way it is, go right ahead. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and put my spaghetti squash here on my plate. I love this stuff. I could eat it every day. You know, this was not a great harvest. I did get, 4 or 5 spaghetti squashes, but I've had years where literally I've gotten, just baskets full of spaghetti squash, and I don't know what happened this year. But anyway, my sauce is done. It's been simmering about a half an hour. And I'm gonna go ahead and put this right over the top of my spaghetti squash. Just like so. I'm gonna turn this sauce off. And I'm probably gonna remove this just because it's electric and I don't want it to keep cooking. So I've toasted up a little sourdough bread. I'm just gonna put a little bit of Parmesan cheese over the top of my spaghetti. And there you go, a nice healthy dinner. Very delicious and very good. I'm gonna sample it for you in just a minute. So I won't call this dinner keto, but it definitely is a low carb option. So let me give this a try for you. Perfect. Amazing. You've got to give this a try. If you've never had spaghetti squash, if you've never made spaghetti squash, or you've never made your own spaghetti sauce, these are some great ideas that might be able to help you not only save some money, but eat a lot more healthy. So enjoy your evening. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Give me a like, a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and ring the bell, and I'd be happy to send you future videos. Take care and have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.